Hi, it's Rich from Richmond Gaming, and in this video we're going to do a battle report of Marvel Crisis Protocol with a little bit of a difference. For this first ever one, we're going to be doing the game that's included in the core box, so the demo game that you run, so let's jump straight into it. First up, it's the Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers, with Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain Marvel and Spider-Man being led by the one and only Captain America. They've chosen to take the Red Extraction. Struggle for the Cube continues, and facing them will be the Cabal, with Crossbones, Dr. Octopus, Ultron and Baron Zemo being led by the evil Red Skull. The Cabal have chosen to take the Blue Secure Riot Sparks over Extremis 3.0. With the terrain deployed, our battlefield set, and our heroes ready to fight, it's time to go into round one. First up, it's Black Widow, who makes a long move, spends one power to pick up one Cosmic Cube fragment, then makes another long move to ensure she is contesting the Extremis console. First up for the Cabal is the Red Skull, who starts by using Cosmic Cube, rolling 5 dice with 1 skull, so taking 1 damage, but receiving 3 power. He then spends 3 power on Master of the Cube, placing Crossbones within 2 of his current position. For his final action, he moves up to within 1 of the Extremis console, securing that objective. Next up is Iron Man, who uses his keyword fly ability to move twice, land on top of the central terrain, spend 1 power and pick up a Cosmic Cube fragment. Crossbones activates next, moving once, spending 1 power to pick up the Cosmic Cube fragment, then moving again to secure the Extremis console. Avengers are up next, but before anybody activates, both Captain Marvel and Captain America spend a power each for Avengers Assemble and Advance Small. Next up for the Avengers is Captain America, who starts by moving up medium and performs a shield throw into Crossbones. Rolling 1 hit and 1 crit, Cap explodes the crit for another success, giving him 3 in total. Crossbones, rolling his 4 defense dice, makes 2 blocks, taking 1 damage and gaining 1 power. This then triggers Crossbones' aggressive ability, allowing him to advance small towards the attacking character. Next up is Ultron, who starts his turn by moving up medium, then performs an energy blast against Iron Man. Rolling 5 dice, he makes 1 crit and 1 wild, but fails to add any more successes. Iron Man then rolls his 3 defense dice, knocking all the incoming damage. Next up for the Avengers is Spider-Man, who moves up, spends 1 power to pick up the Cosmic Cube fragment, then moves up again to secure the Extremis console. Dr. Octopus next, who moves up medium, spends 1 power and picks up the Cosmic Cube. He then performs a strike into Spider-Man, making 2 successes. Spider-Man rolls his 3 defense dice, and using Spider Sense to reroll 1, makes 2 blocks in total. It's Captain Marvel next, who moves up medium, then makes a 4 dice energy blast into Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus rolls his 3 defense dice, making 1 block. Danvers then rerolls 1, but fails to do any additional damage. 1 damage goes through onto Doc Ock, gaining him an extra power, with Carol Danvers gaining 1 power from the attack as well. Last to act is Baron Zemo, who moves up twice, contesting the Extremis console, denying Spider-Man the additional victory point. With all characters activated from both sides, it's time for the cleanup phase, starting with the scoring. With Black Widow and Red Skull, each side have managed to secure 1 Extremis console, with Black Widow, Iron Man and Spider-Man all having Cosmic Cubes fragments for the Avengers, and Crossbones and Dr. Octopus picking them up for the Cabal. At the end of round 1, it's 3 points to 4, with the Avengers just eking ahead. Now on to the power phase, with each character receiving 1 power as per normal. However, each character holding a Cosmic Cube fragment gains 1 additional power, but suffers 1 damage, with the exception of Crossbones, who uses his Inured to Pain superpower. With victory points gained, activation tokens removed, and power distributed, it's time for our characters to go into the second round of activations, with Avengers still having priority. Danvers will activate first and decides on doing a 5 dice strike into Baron Zemo. With 2 crits, she explodes them for 2 additional successes. Baron Zemo rolls his 3 defense dice, but with all blanks, chooses to spend 2 power for Master Swordsman, allowing him to reroll all of his dice. He then uses Strategic Genius to reroll 1 more dice. With Carol's 4 successes to Zemo's 1 block, she does 3 damage against Baron Zemo. He also gains 3 power, and Captain Marvel generates 3 power. Danvers then spends 4 power to activate Binary Form, using Captain America's affiliation ability, A Day Like Any Other, to reduce the cost by 1, allowing her to add 2 dice to their attack and defense rolls until the start of her next activation. Danvers, then using her newly acquired Binary Form, does a 7 dice strike into Baron Zemo with 5 successes in total. Zemo rolls his 3 defense dice, but with no crits, even his rerolls cannot save him from being dazed. He drops the Cosmic Fragment and Danvers spends 1 to pick it up. Crossbones will go first for the Cabal, performing a 5 dice strike into Captain America. With 3 hits and a crit initially, Crossbones explodes the crit for an additional success. Rolling his 4 defense dice, Cap makes 2 successes, meaning that 3 damage goes through. He gains 3 power, and Crossbones gains 3 power from the attack, plus 1 additional power from Red Skull's affiliation ability. For his second action, Crossbones spends 2 power to do an overpower once again against Captain America. He rolls his 5 attack dice, but with only 1 success, and Captain America making 2 successes in total, no damage goes through, and it's the end of Crossbones' turn. Spider-Man activates and uses Webline, spending 1 power by utilising a deal unlike any other to push Dr. Octopus towards him. He then makes a 5 dice strike into Dr. Octopus, exploding 1 crit. Dr. Octopus then rolls his 4 defense dice, making 3 initial saves, blocking all of Spider-Man's attacks, and gaining 1 power from Scientific Hubris. Spider-Man then follows up with another 5 dice strike, this time managing 2 successes, and Dr. Octopus only rolling 1 block. Doc Ock takes 1 damage, gains 1 power, and Spider-Man also gains 1 power. Doc Ock activates and immediately retaliates to Peter Parker by doing a 4 dice strike, unfortunately missing every roll. Doc Ock then performs another strike into Peter Parker, making 4 initial successes, exploding the crit and getting nothing, but because of the wild, doing 5 hits in total. Peter Parker rolls his 3 defense dice, making 2 initial successes, but is unable to add any more even with rerolls. So takes 3 damage and gains 3 power, whilst Dr. Octopus gains 3 power from the attack, 1 power from Scientific Hubris, and 1 power from the Cabal affiliation. Dr. Octopus then spends 4 power, uses Field Dressing to remove the Daze token and 1 damage from Baron Zemo, then spends 4 power on Patch Up to remove the remaining 4 damage on Baron Zemo. Iron Man next, and he fires a 4 dice Repulsor Blast into Ultron. Making 3 initial successes, exploding the crit for a 4th, Ultron rolls his 3 defense dice, explodes the crit but fails to make any more successes, so only blocks 2, taking 2 damage and gaining 2 power, whilst Iron Man gains 2 power. Iron Man then spends 2 power for Friday AI, adding 2 dice to his attack rolls, then spends another 2 power on a 7 dice homing rocket into Ultron. After exploding his crits, Iron Man makes a total of 8 successes. Ultron rolls his 4 defense dice, but with only 1 success, that is 7 damage going through onto Ultron. With only 4 hit points remaining, however, he takes the 4 additional damage, gains 4 power, and is dazed. The recently field-dressed Baron Zemo goes next and spends 2 power to do a steel rush into Peter Parker. After exploding his crit, he makes 3 initial successes. Spider-Man rolls his 3 defense dice and makes 1 initial block. Using Strategic Genius, Zemo rerolls 1 for 1 additional success, and using Spider Sense, Spider-Man rerolls 2 for 2 additional blocks. 1 damage goes through onto Peter Parker, giving him 1 power. Baron Zemo generates 1 power from the Cabal affiliation, but because the wild was rolled, Spider-Man gains the special bleed condition, and because he's now taken too much damage, he is dazed, drops the Cosmic Cube fragment, and Baron Zemo spends 1 power to pick it up. Zemo then turns to perform a strike into Captain Marvel, making 2 successes, but Captain Marvel rolling her additional defense dice blocks all of the incoming damage. It's Captain America up next, who does a 6 dice shield slam into Crossbones with 3 successes. Crossbones rolls his 4 defense dice, makes no successes, but spends 1 power to reduce the damage done by 1, taking 2 damage. Cap then does a 5 dice strike into Crossbones, but with 1 success, and Crossbones blocking 1 does no damage. Red Skull then double moves to secure the far side extremis console, spends 1 power to interact with it, and removes 1 damage from Crossbones. Black Widow next, and she will stay exactly where she is, but spends a power to interact with the extremis console to remove 1 damage from herself. It's the end of the activations now, so on to scoring for the round. The Avengers are securing 1 extremis console, being held by Black Widow, whilst the Cabal are holding 2 extremis consoles, 1 being taken by Red Skull and 1 being taken by Baron Zemo. Cosmic Cube fragments are being held by Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Dr. Octopus and Crossbones. So at the end of round 2, both of our teams score 4 points each, taking the Cabal up to 7, but the Avengers maintaining their lead on 8 points. On to the cleanup and power phase now. We start by flipping the cards of Ultron and Spider-Man and removing the Daze tokens, every character gaining 1 power, and then every character holding a Cosmic Cube fragment taking 1 damage but gaining 1 power, once again with the exception of Crossbones, who pays 1 power to trigger Inured to Pain, reducing the damage by 1. With points being contested, characters being injured on both sides, and the battle for New York heating up, we head into round 3 activations. Dr. Octopus starts for the Cabal and spends 3 power to do an arm laser attack against the already injured Spider-Man. Making 5 initial successes, Spider-Man rolls his defense dice for 1 initial success. Using the Zemo roll, Doc Ock gains 1 more hit, but Peter Parker is unable to make any more additional blocks with his Spider Sense roll, and with Doc Ock's wild counting as a pierce, blocks no incoming damage, and with only 5 health is KO'd by Dr. Octopus in 1 attack. Not liking the idea of a binary form Captain Marvel so close by, Dr. Octopus spends 3 power for Ox Clutches and throws Carol Danvers away small. He then uses last action to move away medium. Iron Man will activate next. He will start by moving medium towards Dr. Octopus, then spending 2 points for Friday AI with the help of Captain America's special ability, and 2 points of a homing rocket for a 7 dice attack into Dr. Octopus. Iron Man makes 4 successes, with Dr. Octopus only being able to block 2, but with only 1 life remaining, he is dazed, drops the Cosmic Cube token, with Iron Man spending 1 power to pick it up. Crossbones next, and he will start by spending 4 power for Haymaker and doing a strike into Captain America with 8 dice. With 5 initial hits, Crossbones explode his 2 crits for 1 additional hit, giving him 6 in total. Cap, in response, opts to spend 1 power on Vibranium Shielding, allowing him to add 2 dice to his defense roll. But Cap's 6 defense dice result in nothing, with Crossbones doing the damage needed to daze Captain America. Crossbones then uses his last action to move back towards the extremis console, spending 1 power and removing 1 damage from himself. Captain Marvel next, and she starts her turn by losing binary form, so spending 4 power to get it back, making a medium move and then doing a 7 dice strike into Baron Zemo. Danvers makes 5 hits. However, Zemo with crits and re-rolls can only manage 1 block, taking 4 damage in total. Captain Marvel then spends 3 power for a Danvers special, picking up Baron Zemo and throwing him into Dr. Octopus, dealing the last point of damage needed to daze Baron Zemo. Ultron will activate next, and he will start by moving up so he is within 1 of the extremis console, and then performing a Metallic Fury against Iron Man. With 5 successes, and Iron Man rolling 2 blocks, plus Invincible Iron Man, he takes 2 damage. Black Widow next, and once again she will stay on that back extremis console, spending 1 power to interact and removing 1 damage. Last to act is Red Skull, who starts his turn by spending 1 power to interact with the extremis console and removing 1 damage from himself, then using Cosmic Cube to gain 3 power, rolling 5 dice and suffering no damage. It's the end of round 3 activation, so on to the scoring phase, with both the Cabal and the Avengers holding 2 Extremis consoles each, and the Cosmic Cube fragments being held by Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Iron Man is holding 2, and Crossbones is holding the last, meaning the Cabal are scoring 3 points this turn, but the Avengers are surging ahead with 6 points, taking them to a total of 14 versus the Cabal's 10. Once again, each character holding a Cosmic Cube fragment takes 1 damage and gains 1 power, with the exception of Iron Man, who reduces it by 1, and Crossbones, who once again chooses to spend a power to take no damage. Currently sitting on 14 points, the Avengers go into round 4 only needing 2 more points for victory. But with Spider-Man out of the fight, Iron Man close to being dazed, and Zemo and Octavius coming back powered up, the battle for New York still hangs in the balance as we move on to round 4. Iron Man kicks things off for the Avengers, spending 2 power for Friday AI, then spending 2 more power for a homing rockets attack against Baron Zemo. With 2 successes, Baron Zemo rolls his 3 defense dice, making no successes, so taking 2 damage and gaining 2 power, and because Iron Man rolled a wild, triggers the explosive keyword, dealing 1 damage to Dr. Octopus. Iron Man's second activation then, and he chooses to do a repulsor blast into Baron Zemo, rolling 3 successes. Baron Zemo rolls 1 initial success, but it's a crit, explodes that for 1 more success, so takes 1 damage. Zemo then performs Counter Strike, spending 2 power and rolling 4 dice, dealing 1 damage to Iron Man for each crit rolled. Rolling 2 crits, 1 damage onto Iron Man goes through, dazes him, and forces him to drop the 2 Cosmic Cube fragments. Zemo to activate next, and he starts by spending 2 power to pick up the 2 Cosmic Cube fragments dropped by Iron Man, moving along to be within 1 of the Extremis console, spending 1 power to remove 1 damage, and ending his turn. Captain America will go next, and he will start by moving up to the Extremis console and then doing a shield slam into Crossbones. Rolling 6 dice, he manages 2 successes, but with Crossbones' 4 defense dice, he blocks all of the incoming damage. Cap does, however, get to throw Crossbones, so he picks him up and throws him into the Red Skull, causing 1 point of damage on Crossbones, which he negates by spending 1 power and forcing Red Skull to make a dodge roll. As Crossbones is size 2, that is 3 incoming damage to Red Skull. He rolls his 4 defense dice, blocking 1, so taking 2 damage. Red Skull next, and he will start by playing Master of the Cube, spending 3 power to move Crossbones within 2 of his current position. He will then spend 4 power for a 7 strength attack, Unleash the Cube into Captain America. Cap chooses to spend 1 power for Vibranium Shield, meaning that he can add 2 dice to his defense roll. Red Skull makes 4 hits, but with Captain America's I can do this all day, meaning he can include blanks in his defense rolls, he blocks all of the incoming damage. Because, however, of the wild rolled, Red Skull gets to trigger Reality Warp, meaning that Captain America suffers the stun condition. Black Widow next, and once again she will stay on that back Extremis console, spending 1 power to interact and removing 1 damage. Crossbones next, and he starts by moving up small, then spending 2 power to do an overpower attack onto Black Widow. After exploding his crit, he has 4 successes. Black Widow rolls her defense dice and makes 1 defense, meaning 3 damage go through. However, because of the wild, he chooses to throw Black Widow into the car, causing 1 damage initially. The other 3 damage then go through, dazing Black Widow and forcing her to drop the Cosmic Cube fragment. Crossbones then places himself within 1 of Black Widow, spending 1 power to pick up the Cosmic fragment and contesting the Extremis console. And last to activate is Captain Marvel, who decides that she's going to move up and do an energy blast into Crossbones. After rerolls, Danvers has 2 successes and Crossbones has managed to block none, meaning 2 damage goes through, but it's still not enough to take him out. And with that, it is the end of the activations and actually the end of the game. If we count up the victory points, we have Crossbones, Red Skull and Ultron all contesting an Extremis console each, and then the Cosmic Cubes being held by Captain Marvel. Crossbones is holding 2 and Baron Zemo is holding 2, giving 7 victory points to the Cabal and 1 victory point to the Avengers, pushing the Avengers up to 15 points, but the Cabal coming from nowhere and scoring 16 victory points and taking the game. And there we are, guys. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I picked up on some mistakes that I made. I'm sure there are other mistakes I've made that you guys will pick up on again, but please let me know what you think of this video down in the comment section below. Those that I've spoke to about this know the amount of hours it's taken to put this together, and that feedback let me know whether you guys like this style of battle report or not. Would be really helpful, and will really determine whether or not I make another one of these. As I mentioned at the beginning, please make sure you're subscribed to the video and leave a comment in the comment section down below on this video, or indeed any other video for the month of June, and you will be in with a chance to win a character pack in the month of July when we do our draw. To everyone on Discord and on the Facebook groups that's given me feedback and helped me with this, it's greatly appreciated. And as always, guys, stay safe, keep well, and until next time, bye for now.